These are the faces of Filipino comfort women survivors, or in Tagalog, Lolas, meaning grandmothers, traumatized and ashamed of being forced into sexual slavery by Japanese troops during World War II. These women kept silent most of their lives and only began demanding justice in the 1990s. But even today, the justice they've been fighting for is still not served. The Japanese government refuses to recognize the comfort women issue and ignores all demands from the victims and their families. Today, the Lolas are in their 90s, and many of them are sickly and poor. Lots of them passed away without receiving any compensation from the Japanese government, not even an apology.
For the victims until now, some of them or many of them never entered formal employment. They never got jobs. Some of them never got legally married. Most of them never traveled. Some of them never had kids. Many of them never really got out of poverty.
The number of alive victims right now is kept secret by Lila Pilipina, a non-profit organization which helps Lolas seek justice. It fears that a declining number of survivors may embolden the Japanese government to care even less about the issue. Despite all that, the fight for justice continues, led by both surviving victims and their families. Estelita Day is one of them. In 1944, 14-year-old Estelita was kidnapped by the Japanese soldiers while selling vegetables, eggs, and chickens at a market in Bacolod City in the central Philippines. Nearly 8 decades have passed. The traumatic ordeal the 92-year-old suffered continues to haunt her like a recurring nightmare.
Pagkatapos na may susunod pa, ginawa ko, nilabanan ko. Nagalit sa akin, nawakan ako dito sa dalawang tenga at ubod lakas na inano sa lamisa, nagwala ako ng malay. Pagkatapos, nung mahimasmasan ako, may isang babaeng lumapit sa akin, mahusay magsalita ng Hapon. Sa ulitin, huwag mo lang gagawin yun na lumaban ka, baka mamaya ikapatayin ka pa. Kaya ako, pag inikahasa ako ng Hapon, umiiyak na lang ako, tinatakpan ko na lang ang aking mata.
After the war, Estelita decided to leave her hometown for Metro Manila, fearing that people would know about her ordeal if she stayed in the village. While in Manila, she was married and has 6 children, but kept silent about her past trauma of being raped. It was not until 1993 that she finally mastered the courage to come out in the open to tell her wartime ordeal. Despite her poverty and frail health, Estelita has tirelessly joined fora and protest rallies with other Lolas to demand a formal apology and compensation from the Japanese government. Their efforts paid off with a landmark progress in 2017, when the memorial statue of comfort women was inaugurated on the banks of Manila Bay. But such progress quickly vanished when the statue was removed merely 4 months later under Tokyo's constant diplomatic pressure. Another comfort women memorial statue in Laguna province was also removed just 3 days after its installation due to pressure from the Japanese government.
So we are really actually bothered by these efforts by the right wing and by the Japanese government itself to revise history. And now they're taking away even the statues, which are the only symbols that we have of the fight that we are advancing. So these are the questions that we find troubling.
Matulungan nila ang lahat ng mga komportuman sa lahat ng bansa na may komportuman. Magkaroon mo sana sila ng puso. Siguro, mamatay ka na lang na wala kang, may galit ka sa puso. Na hindi mo lang nila pinapansin ang aming daing.
There seems to be no end in sight in the Lolas' quest for justice. Despite people's help and the media coverage, roadblocks set up by the Japanese government have dealt one blow after another to the already fading group. But for the Lolas, this is far from over. Estelita says she will not stop fighting even if she dies, as her children and grandchildren will carry on with the mission, and so will many others who have dedicated themselves to this cause.
Hindi naman ako nagsisisi dahil naiano ko yung akin karanasan. Kaya kami ayaw na namin ng gera para ang nangyari sa amin hindi na mangyari ulit sa bagong henerasyon.